that was a positive, once again. So yeah, we needed his lift, when we have, a guy like Karl and D'Angelo out, you need Malik to have a big night. And, he came up bigger late in the game, but just wasn't enough.
TCL is a proud sponsor of the SKOR North Studios. Enjoy more of the things you love with TCL. These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
I had somebody once tell me, when coaching a young team, you teach them in three levels. You go from teaching them to compete at the NBA level then to execute and win. Then you teach championship standards. And, we got to compete for 48 minutes, but I can't tell you how proud I am of those guys for those 36, but character wins don't get you anything in this league. But it does signify growth.
How close are they to the third rung there? The teach, so it's compete, execute, and in championship. How close are our Timberwolves to that third rung?
43 first quarter points against.
It's pretty bad.
43 first quarter.
And didn't they? I'm getting my Wolves game strung together, but over the weekend they allowed 84 points in the first half, and then won the game. Right, and come back. Or no, I can't remember. They lost that game.
They lost that game.
They took the lead. It was neck and neck.
They did win the game before against OKC.
That's right.
Which by the way, also absolutely stinks.
Yeah.
So
I mean, as you can tell, the last three games, I'm like, oh my god, I don't even know if I can sit and watch through this.
I subject myself to them just to see how bad things go.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Like for me, they've definitely moved exclusively. Well, I can't watch them on the big TV because let's just say the streaming service that I personally use for finding Wolves games is not available on your standard smart TVs. And so they were taking up computer and tablet screen for a while for me, and now they've been demoted to just the phone screen.
Oh, really?
Just the phone screen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was going back and forth on the computer last night because Dawn had the main TV between the Gophers, who were trying to blow a game to Nebraska but couldn't because
things are great right now.
Because the Huskers absolutely, pardon my French, suck.
Dude, I don't think they've won a conference game in like 26 straight
but they're
games.
legitimately that bad. And then
John Beeline on commentary last night,
who actually was good.
But he didn't really know what he was doing.
No, but it was great because he told you, and he also used he like talked like a coach. So he made no attempt to interpret it, which I thought was fantastic.
It was hilarious.
I would far rather have coach guy talk like a coach coaching a game than polished guy. Yeah, I don't need polished guy.
And then at the end of the game, so as the credits are rolling and the music is playing and they're about to go back to studio, and so there's clearly like 30 seconds left or something when the bumper music hits, and play-by-play guy throws it to John Beeline, and he's like, "And coach, great job. Your first time doing this. You sound like a natural." And then Beeline, just as if they're just having a conversation off mic, he's like, "Well, it's pretty hard." And the highlights of the game are playing as the credits
are rolling.
Talking
about what does it say?
And like 15 seconons left, and he's just like, I'm going to try and get better at this. And you can tell the other guy's like, we got to go. We got to go.
I like that though. You see, I want that. To your question, 83 points by OKC. That's right. Saturday night, first half against the Wolves.
Yeah, but then they only gave up like 37 or something
it's a moral victory. No question about it. Yeah. Moral victory.
Okay, choose your own adventure here. Would you like to do a deep dissection on the Timberwolves loss to the Mavericks last night, or would you like to talk about Karl-Anthony Towns trade rumors that have popped up?
I'd rather do the latter, but I need the sounder.
You want reckless speculation?
This thing will happen.
How about reckless trade speculation?
Declan found these in the dark corners of the internet.
Classic.
Late last night.
Yep.
Couple Corona hard seltzers in.
Post-Bachelor review. Yep.
Which we're going to get to too. Dex reviews today.
Because Dex was not concerned about basketball last night.
Yep. And I got to be honest, it's Bachelor Monday, and I had that on the big screen for 2 hours. Okay, Inquisitor.com. No idea how credible this is, but that doesn't
matter.
Reckless speculation.
The day that this show has standards on coverage is the day I walk.
Oh, man. All right. Minnesota Timberwolves center Karl-Anthony Towns is one name being closely monitored on the trade market. As the Timberwolves continue to bury themselves deep at the bottom of the Western Conference rankings, there's a growing belief around the league that Towns will soon follow in the footsteps of other stars and start finding his way out of Minnesota. It cuts deep because it's true. Let's just be honest. Once he becomes officially available on the trading block, several title contenders that are in dire need of a front court boost and additional star power on their roster are expected to express a strong interest in acquiring Karl-Anthony Towns, including the Boston Celtics.
Reckless speculation.
In a recent article, Eddie Batar of Fadeaway World, another website I've never heard of, but that's okay, came up with a blockbuster trade idea that would enable Towns to form a super team with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in Boston before the 2021 trade deadline. This would basically be the modern version of what Kevin Garnett did 13 years ago.
Absolutely.
This would objectively, it would suck as a Wolves fan, but it would be great for Karl-Anthony Towns.
That's why it's so plausible.
Yep.
East Coast as well.
In the proposed scenario, the Celtics would be sending a package that includes Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, oh my God, I'm going to butcher his name. Semi Ojale, Daniel Tice, Robert Williams, and Peyton Pritchard, plus a 2021 first-round pick and a 2022 second-round pick to the Wolves in exchange for Towns. Okay, so that's Inquisitor.com.
And to be honest, like Kemba Walker coming back?
Oh, don't say it. Don't say it. This is what we said about the KG trade.
What do you mean coming? Oh, I thought you
coming to Minnesota.
Come in here.
In the
yeah,
trade?
no,
Dude.
don't do it, dude. We did the same thing about KG.
Oh, Sebastian tells us.
Reckless speculation.
UConn 10 years
You gotta
ago.
All
stop.
right. So that, in couple websites we've never heard of, but it wouldn't be shocking at some point. We've gone through this a million times in franchise history.
But you know what this
right?
show does, Phil? This show connects the dots, which you're about to do.
Instagram, The Ringer, our friend of the show, Kevin O'Connor, KOC, Kevin O Timberwolves.
Credible.
He says, late Saturday evening, I received a flurry of texts from multiple executives around the league who said the Celtics were up to something. What they're up to is unclear, but league sources have long said Boston is searching for upgrades to bolster its wing and big man position. Reckless speculation. Your thoughts?
I'm going to get below the table because it's probably going to happen. And I just can't. Just go to Seattle, go to Quebec. I don't care where you go. If this happens, Vancouver, San Diego, Buffalo, I don't care where you go. If this happens, just board up that godforsaken building and move and get out, and I'm done. I can't take it. Like Jim Pete, Dave Benz, and I can no longer take it.
I mean, I love how Declan perked up. He's like, "Ooh, Kemba Walker."
But this is the Garnett trade.
Kemba Walker's like doing this. He's like 31.
But the Garnett trade was the same thing, right? Like the Garnett trade was the same thing.
Kemba Walker, by the way, he's 31 years old. He's one of the most prolific volume chuckers in the NBA.
He's a Timberwolf.
He's shooting. He might have been hurt but he's played 9 games this year.
He's having a rough year.
He's shooting 36%. He's just like,
he's. Oh man, you got him back.
Yeah, he put up 20 points a game in Charlotte for years because nobody else wanted to shoot. Yeah. Basically.
My immediate thought in all sadly seriousness about this is I'm not dismissing anything when it comes to Cat and the Wolves and where this thing is going. I think it would be foolish to say no way. I really do. And this comes back. I disagree. This comes back though. My fear here is, and I don't know if it's going to happen soon, if it's going to take a couple of years. My fear about this entire thing is that Cat is going to look at this and rightfully so say, I can't save this. KG couldn't. I can't. Nobody can.
But okay, so you're saying, listen, at some point, if he wants out, then you might as well get ahead of it and get whatever. You get the biggest package you can for him, right?
And I don't want to, but I'm saying, is it going to work with Cat here? Because they're taking another stab. But you go get D'Lo, right? You get Russell, and you think, okay, they're going to team up. I mean, so far they played 5 games as teammates?
They've played 5 games, and it's been a year.
Yeah, and I'd like to
It's been
see
over
it,
a
and
year.
I'd like to see a prolonged stretch, but my God.
Okay, here's the problem, and this is why I disagree with you. You cannot entertain a Karl-Anthony Towns trade. You honestly, I know this is going to sound crazy because conventional thought is, well, if a superstar is destined to leave, then you have to salvage whatever value you can get for him. You got to at least get like a first round pick or something of value. And 99% of the time, that's what you should do in sports, especially if you're in a less than desirable market or situation. Like if you're the Twins and Johan Santana is going to leave you for a bigger market, well, you got to get something, right? All right, Carlos Gomez, I guess we'll try it out, okay?
Yep.
In this case,
Yep.
If you come to the conclusion that Karl-Anthony Towns is gone or that you have to trade him, what is the point of having a franchise?
Well, that's
You are
I
at
agree.
the end of the tracks as a franchise if that happens.
I'm with
And
you
so
completely.
I would rather ride Karl-Anthony Towns off of the cliff and then send the team to Vegas than trade him for, well, let's trade Karl-Anthony Towns for a couple of first round picks and Kemba Walker and see what happens. Like here's the problem. This is the cycle that we've been in, well, for the better part of 30 years, but let's say the last 15 to 18 years after the 2003 season ended in the Western Conference Finals, okay? Your only path in Minnesota, like in Miami, you have a chance because it's a desirable market, or Los Angeles with the Lakers, you can just reboot your franchise by signing LeBron James in free agency and then luring Anthony Davis, or by bringing Jimmy Butler in and or Chris Bosh, right? Like you can just bring guys in because people want to live there, and those are just great NBA cities. In Minneapolis, your only path to being relevant is to draft a top star and build around him.
Yep.
Kevin Garnett, Kevin Love, Andrew Wiggins, I guess technically he was a trade, but falls into that category, and now Karl-Anthony Towns. The Wolves have done this numerous times. Like they've actually, for as much draft failure as they've had between the bookends, like 25 years ago, they landed a Hall of Fame player in Kevin Garnett in the draft. I think Karl-Anthony Towns has a chance to be in a better situation, a borderline Hall of Fame talent. He's one of the most efficient offensive players in league history. They've done this numerous times, and they have one semi-successful playoff run in their history. I have zero desire to do it again. Karl-Anthony Towns is a generationally talented 7-footer offensively. I get that there's some flaws and there's some like leadership things there.
Sure.
I would rather ride him off the cliff and say goodbye to the franchise than trade him for first round picks and try again. Like I'm done trying again with this franchise.
You're hearing me wrong. I'm with everything that you just said. What I'm saying though is, what if he is now becomes, he's not there now. What if he becomes through recognition of incompetence, the Wolves' Deshaun Watson, and leaves you with no choice? That's my point. Is that the problem is that the Wolves take these stars and they push them and they push them and they push them. And eventually they say, hold on a second here. I just drove to work today and it was 17 below. So I'm in a miserable place. Now, if you played in the summer, I'd come there in a heartbeat. And you went and acquired my buddy, and then a lot went wrong there, and things just aren't working here, and you're grossly incompetent. That's another problem. So Phil, I'm with you. I have no interest in trading him. What I'm saying is the pieces that you put together at the top of the show are starting to make more and more sense as far as how this could play out. So I'm with what you're saying, but if he becomes Deshaun Watson essentially and says, I got to go. I can't do this. I can't. You people don't know what you're doing. It's consistent. Look, this is a franchise that took, and the guy might have been a jackass at times, but the Minnesota Timberwolves franchise took Kevin Garnett. The one thing that we know about him, maybe the most loyal player in NBA history across the board. Like he got here and he was all in for years, right? The Wolves traded him. He didn't want to be traded. Like he had been with incompetence for at that point like 4 years, and he's still like, "Don't trade me." And they're like,
"This is my place."
Yeah, this is my place.
Which now has alienated him because Glenn Taylor is the worst
but
owner in professional
that's
sport.
my point. They've taken one of the most loyal people, a guy who won't talk to former teammates who forced their way off Garnett's teams. Like it's that deep with Garnett. They took him and turned him against them twice. So. as far as Cat goes, I have zero interest in trading Cat. But does what you read make some sense as far as the direction that this appears to be going? Yeah, it makes some sense.
Here's the other thing that drives me nuts, and this is a front office thing. This is an organizational cultural thing, but ultimately it goes back to Glenn Taylor, because Glenn Taylor, I get that he saved the franchise from being moved 7 years into its existence in the mid-90s. So thank you for that.
Which was a precursor of things to come, by the way.
But basically since then, he has been, if you take away guys like Donald Sterling with the Clippers, who's just a creep, like Glenn Taylor's not a creep. He's a nice guy, but he is an incompetent professional sports owner. He's the worst in 25 years of the 4 major professional sports, including the Browns. And that's saying something. Glenn Taylor is that bad the last 18 years. Flip Saunders has saved Glenn Taylor from himself, because Flip Saunders had a vision and knew what he was doing and kept things together. And the biggest thing that just, as I think back to the KG era and now with Karl-Anthony Towns, the Wolves spend so much time as an organization bending over backwards out of desperation to make these superstars happy, instead of just putting a great team and organization and structure around them. In San Antonio, do you think ownership and Greg Popovich and the front office, do you think they were sitting there like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Oh, David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Oh my God, they might leave us. Oh, we should bring in their best friend to come play. Oh, we should sign Joe Smith under the table because KG's friends with him. Like, no, they said, we know what we're doing. We're going to draft right. We're going to develop and scout right. And we're going to make trades that are going to help reach a championship level goal.
Yeah, because we're good.
In 25 years of Wolves history, like they haven't been competent enough to just put secondary stars and role players around Kevin Garnett and Karl-Anthony Towns. It's about, well, I guess we failed at trying to supplement this roster with one of these iconic, generational, great Hall of Fame players, and then Karl-Anthony Towns. So, whoa, who's your best friend? D'Lo. Let's just bring D'Lo in. Like, that's what it feels like. Oh, okay. Who else? Yep. Okay, Cat likes Ryan, so let's make Ryan the youngest head coach in the NBA 5 years before he's ready to be thrown into that fire. Like, Cat likes him and D'Lo, and so if we can put his friends on the team, then Cat will stay. He'll stay with us. It's like, just be more competent. It's unbelievable.
But that's Gerson too. Like, it's very weird. And here's the thing that I can't figure out at this point. Like, is Gerson good? This is his roster right now. And my God, there are some nice young pieces. I'll give you that. But there's also large stretches of time where his players are as disengaged as you can possibly be. Like, we keep talking about these last 2 games, right? Dallas, OKC. The Wolves made a cut. Oh, it's down to 12 now. Yeah. Why is it down to 12? Because you were awful for a quarter or 2 and you didn't care. And you're young. Like, that's effort. That's nothing more than, am I going to try tonight because I am an NBA player? I think I will, right? So I guess my question is this. Do you see things improving at all? Because if you did, I think you might say, okay, yeah, it still sucks, but.
You know what? I will. Here's a silver lining, because it's been awfully negative, but listen, the Wolves bring it upon themselves. 2 silver linings. Silver linings. Karl-Anthony Towns is on the verge of coming back. They're just, he's been out for a month. He had COVID. We don't really know the extent of it because the Wolves are secretive and nobody has cracked open the reporting side of it. But he's going to be back at some point, probably going to play some limited minutes to start with. And so we will get to see in the second half of the season what we thought we were going to see a year ago, but then injuries and the wrist injury and the pandemic hit. We're going to see Cat and D'Lo play together. We'll see if that elevates D'Lo's game, and if it gets the Wolves closer to being like a 500 respectable team at the time that Karl-Anthony Towns comes back, then maybe the tone of this conversation changes. So that's the first silver lining. The second silver lining is over his last 10 games or so, once he's been put in the starting lineup, Anthony Edwards looks a lot better. Like, he's aggressive. He's one of these guys that even if he's going to have a bad shooting night where he goes 5 of 14, more often than not, he's going to still get you 5 rebounds, a few assists. He's going to be active. He's going to get a couple steals, a block. Like, he's going to get to the rim. He's a much more Energizer Bunny active version of what we saw with Andrew Wiggins. And I like that he's able to just sort of be aggressive and take the game over at times. And he's only played 25 career games or whatever it is.
Yep.
And so I actually could see by the end of the year, Ant Edwards ascending above D'Lo, not in terms of usage or anything like that, but I could just see him ascending above D'Lo in the pecking order of, all right, what is this thing going to look like next year and the year after that? He is the number 1 overall pick. He's super talented and he's showing some major flashes. And so that's a silver lining too. But as I read through these trade rumors, there's an inevitability about it just based on how it feels right now with the Wolves and based on what we know has happened in the last 15 years. I don't just read this and dismiss it and say, oh, the Inquisitor, what are these random things? When Kevin O'Connor.
Yeah, exactly right.
So there is a feeling of inevitability and, oh my God, here we go again. And so the savior in this, I think D'Lo kind of is what he is. I think he's going to get better with Towns. But I honestly think the savior in this is Anthony Edwards. If Anthony Edwards can grow into the player that they think he is and the guy that they thought they were drafting number 1 overall, he becomes a great sidekick for Karl-Anthony Towns. So that's the thing to watch going forward here.
My question off that point, though, is how long do you stay patient and give the coach as well then? Because this is going to be a work in progress for a while. So do you just allow this whole chemistry experiment to play out? Do you get impatient? Do you get a different coach in here? There's a lot of things about what they're trying to do and about what they've executed that I don't know. And here's the thing with Cat. I don't know what his patience is. So I do believe that Cat wants to win here. I think that he does, and they've got his buddy, and that's great. But at some point in time, too, does that patience expire? And is that at some point soon? And the one thing about the Cat thing that I don't think can be dismissed, and I'm sure I can hear people now saying, oh, come on, Judd, typical Judd. The off-the-court stuff that has transpired in his life causes people to think about their life and reevaluate and look at how short life can be.
Yeah, that's fair.
And sometimes say to themselves, am I where I want to be?
Yeah.
And I realize that that's a hard thing to quantify, and I get that people are different. I'm just saying there's a lot of things in this person's life, and he's still young, but I think one of the most important things that people do is take death, for instance, and evaluate off of that am I doing what I want because life is short? I'm just saying.
No, I think, and I think he's actually been pretty, he hasn't been a super open book about that, but the way
He's talked about it,
the things that he has said publicly, it's very clear that he's in a reevaluation of life mode.
Yeah.
And, if the Wolves become a thing that he just feels like doesn't fill his cup anymore, it expedites the process even more. And it's unfortunate. I wouldn't blame him for a second. I mean, this franchise needs to get its act together. You've had talent.
But how long have we been saying that? I mean, it's been true.
Yeah,
for how many years?
And just
including with Tibbs.
And just to put a bow on this, because I do have a quick Twins thing for you guys too. If you trade Karl-Anthony Towns at some point, you're doing it hoping that you can get another Karl-Anthony Towns or another Kevin Garnett, right?
Yes.
So it just feels like when KG was traded, I think he was 30 years old or 31, and so it felt like, all right, well, his prime, he probably has a couple of years of prime left, and they're not going to compete in his prime. So just it doesn't add up. You almost have to trade him. Cat is entering his basketball prime.
Yes.
He's in his mid-20s. He's got 6 or 7 years left of this thing. You should use it as long as you can. You should try to make this work. Boys, we've got some interesting baseball standings projections here in just a second. But a quick shout out to Federated Mutual Insurance Company. Federated recently launched MyShield, the online client destination for risk management resources. And if you think about it as a business owner, just think about how helpful it would be for you to have employee training at your fingertips, industry resources that can help your business reach another level of success. Do your employees use company vehicles, company ladders? There's risk involved. MyShield comes in with resources, safety training and videos, risk management plans, etc., to help give you peace of mind as a business owner. Find out more about MyShield at federatedinsurance.com or download the app. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours.
We're gonna win, Twins. We're gonna score. We're gonna win, Twins. What's that baseball score?
Okay, baseballprospectus.com, boys. I just want to, there's no such thing as a flawless, perfect baseball projection website or system, but Baseball is a lot easier to predict than, say, football in some cases, because you can sort of look at players' track records. And Baseball Prospectus, they back in 2008 are the website that said, oh, you know that Rays team that's going to be garbage and has been garbage for like 10 years? Yeah, they're going to win the division. They're going to win 90 games, and they went to the World Series. And everybody was like, whoa, where'd the Rays come from? Baseball Prospectus saw that coming beforehand. So they put out their annual projected standings, and this will change as new players sign. There's still free agents out there. And they've got the Minnesota Twins as favorites in the American League Central right now on a 91-win simulation, ahead of second place Cleveland
Oh,
Whoa!
at 86 wins,
What?
and the White Sox at 83 and 79.
Is there an
They are not super high on the Chicago White Sox.
Is that because don't these rankings really go heavy on pitching? Like, I mean, Cleveland has pitching. Like, is that,
no, I
is
mean,
that their main
they
driver?
don't go heavy. I mean, they take all the information
Is there an
that's
explanation
available, and they
for this or no?
no, they literally just drop
They
the
just drop
standings.
Awesome.
We're gonna win, Twins. We're gonna score. We're gonna win, Twins. What's that baseball score?
They're crazy.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry, but I think that's ridiculous.
So my guess is, and I would love a write up at some point. They just sort of dropped the standings and
White Sox last
they
place.
just walked out. By the way, they got the Dodgers projected. It's kind of a conservative projection platform, like,
Yeah, the wins are conservative, right?
but they have the Dodgers at 103 wins with that pitching staff.
Oh.
So here's my guess. I think they're looking at some of the young Chicago players and saying, you all think that all their young players are going to just like skyrocket and crescendo all at once.
And pop.
But
Yep.
that's not usually what happens. They're looking and saying there's going to be a couple sophomore slumps in here. A couple young players aren't going to take off as much as you think they are. And so you guys are all looking at what the White Sox could be. And Lance Lynn, like, yeah, but Lance Lynn is 40 pounds overweight and,
What's wrong with that?
is going to play in a smaller ballpark. So those are all the
Watch your
things
mouth.
that they're probably looking at.
Wow, third place though shocks me.
I know.
Like I thought it would be at least neck and neck with the Twins for first place. I mean, Cleveland could be really bad.
Yeah, but
I mean, they've got some pitching, but they could be really bad.
Cleveland, they have and Derek Falvey came from their front office. They've always had a really savvy front office that maximizes a pretty low budget. It's pretty tough to find disaster Cleveland seasons going back like the last 10 or 15 years. They don't have many. They always have like Shane Bieber just coming up out of nowhere,
But I still think it's fair to put them in third place.
Oh. The other teams in the division, Kansas City projected to be 71 and 90 and 91,
okay.
And then Detroit at 67 and 95.
We're gonna win, Twins. We're gonna
So
score.
that's your Twins
We're
Tuesday.
gonna
Your Twins Tuesday nuggets of the week here. Let's get to our guy here, Randy in Cottage Grove. Happy off season, Randy.
This is when it starts. Actually, the off season is my prime time season.
I like it.
Yeah, are you going to unveil any preliminary mock drafts for us here sometime soon?
A lot of in the mocking community, a lot of people go, come out of the gate way too soon. You'll see those mocks, the day after the draft this year, there'll be a 22 mock V1. That's just a joke.
Fox Sports is already at like 6.0. They've already released like 6 mock drafts.
Way ahead of you, Randy.
Where are
They're
you at?
way ahead of you, Pete Schrager.
Is that where that's where Schrager works?
Yeah.
He jacked one of my drafts mocks a couple of years ago.
Oh no!
I remember that. There was a big controversy.
He even copped to it. I think he copped to it on Twitter. I had a bunch of my followers gave him a hard time, and he didn't do that again. I'll tell you that. And by the way, I go. You can mock all day long if you're just going to throw stuff against the wall. I try to mock all the possibilities, all the trades, all the things that could happen. And if you recall, I did I not get Mike Hughes? Did I not peg that?
Well, I think you've nailed Mike Hughes and Justin Jefferson.
Yes, I did.
In the last couple of years.
Yeah, yes, I did. And
you are one of the premier, most underrated mock drafters in American sports right now, across all sports.
Well, amateur mocker, and I don't take that as an insult. I mean, amateur just simply means that I don't get paid for it. And by the way, I don't want to get paid for it.
So are you able, like, once you get paid, does your amateur status go away forever in mocking?
It's like an Olympian?
If you're taking, like, I did try once to do a sponsor. It didn't go well. And now that I'm back to unpaid.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Because you tried to read it on the show, Randy, and we didn't approve that.
You tried to bring a sponsor onto our radio show, and
no,
that's
it was my mock, my sponsor.
Well, that's not how that works.
on our platform. And you're
who's the one doing the mock? Who put the time in?
Well, you did.
If you guys want to do a mock and come over to my garage and read it or something, I'm not going to tell you can't.
Can we bring a sponsor if that happens?
Can we get paid by your sponsor?
If you look, the point is, if you put in the work on the mock, it's your mock. So I still have feel ruffled about that. I mean, I got hosed on that deal. They never paid me because they said I didn't actually get them the exposure. So
maybe we can negotiate a side deal this year. I think there's going to be a lot of interest in which left guard the Vikings draft in round 1 or 3. So
it better not be a left guard. Better not be a left guard. I'll say that right now.
What do you want?
I want a whole lot of things. I want a package. I want to move around a little bit. I want to get crazy. I want Kirk to be gone. Yeah, that's for number one. Yeah, there's going to be trades. I mean, I bet you right now. I'll bet you whatever's left in my kegerator, which is 3/4 of a keg at least. I'll bet that much beer that Kirk is gone.
Why
are you so negative on Kirk all the time?
Yeah, man.
He doesn't have it. He doesn't. He's an imposter. He's got that fake smile. He's like a human fake smile.
He has white teeth. I'll give you that.
So where's he going, Randy? What team?
Sleeps on a special bed and he eats buffets. That's all I know about him. Because he's not real. He's not a real guy who can cuss. He doesn't even cuss right. Where's he going? I don't know. Carolina, maybe. San Fran, Denver.
Teddy coming back?
Sure, I'll take Teddy. I'll take Garoppolo if we need to take him. I'll take Turbo if the Bears get Wentz. I'll take Turbo. I'll take anyone other than this guy because he's sucking on too much jack, too much of that cap, and you can't put a good team around someone if they're making that much scratch. I mean, that's just basic economics.
Hey, what's your love for Turbo? I gotta delve down on this. Why Turbo? You always every week you bring up Trubisky.
Well, he's first of all he's got kind of a nice, interesting little package of skills. I mean, he can move around with his legs a little bit. He doesn't have a cannon, but he can certainly make some throws. He's in the wrong system. I bet if Turbo gets a chance, I mean, he was a high pick. If you don't recall. Matter of fact, I think they passed on Mahomes to take Turbo. Yeah, that might have been a mistake, but
jury's still out. I would say, yeah.
Well,
we'll let it play out
for now. I'm not. What do they call him? A sting for him. I'm not a sting.
Stan.
I think Stan
is what the kids say.
Let him go. Let him go.
Don't be a casual. Don't be a casual.
Don't correct Randy Vikes.
But I'll listen. You want to talk Bears? You want to float him out there for like a seventh, or even just if they cut his ass. I mean, all I'm saying is, Kubiak, Clint, if you're listening, you change up the playbook, bud, or you're not going to be here very long because Zim's going to take a hike too. So Zim, you better treat this Clint Kubiak as Stefanski 2.0 and let him fly a little bit. Let him air it out. Let him try some things. Because if you're just saying give the ball to 33 over and over again, it's going to be a one and done for Clint, and Zim will be gone too. That's a call.
All right. I mean, I could definitely see a scenario.
Well, you were trying to fire Zim after this year, Randy. You were trying to fire Zim 2 weeks ago.
You show me a team that pounds the rock, as they say, as much as the purple that it goes anywhere far in the playoffs. There ain't any. That's not the league anymore. And I'm an old school football guy, but as I told you, I look back at that tape, all those '80s teams. This was the writing was on the wall. Mark Duper, super duper. He was catching passes at a rate that I didn't really understand until I went back and took a look at it and said, it's been there all along to see the future of this league and how it's going to evolve. And take a look at some of that 80s tape, Clint. Take a look at the way they move Super Duper around, the way some of those fantastic squads from back then go. Sometimes you need to look back to go forward, and I think that's it. But if you guys want, I do have a stud stable from my Super Bowl.
Oh wow, nice!
Oh,
little Super Bowl stud stable here.
Yeah, I just threw one together from the party. Just a few highlights, things that really got me excited. So
okay, all right. Here is Randy and Cottage Grove's Super Bowl stud stable.
This is the Super Bowl 55 stud stable, Andy Vike 69. Starting off the stable, what I always start off my Super Bowl parties with is a big ass Bloody Mary. And I don't just do one shot of vodka. Oh. I don't just do two.
It's a food. This is a food spread.
I thought we were going to get
a food spread stud stable here.
I thought we were going to get the stars of the game.
A quad shot of absolute pepper. What? On the bottom of that big tumbler.
I like it.
You do the zing zang, the pickles, a little bit of splash of clamato, and a new sauce I discovered from my buddy Crybaby Craig.
I gotta hang out with Randy.
Dude, you know what? Randy and I have not always seen eye to eye. Crybaby Craig's
very good.
Wonderful local hot sauce.
We pound two of those to get things rolling. And then we crack into one of the other new beverages I found, the Pabst hard coffee.
Oh. Just
to kind of get the heart rate up, get the tiger in your tank. Do two of those. Now we're cooking.
Okay.
And now we got a buzz working with no base coat, by the way. That's the key. You got to get that buzz quick and get it up in the air, and then you can start eating.
Let's get it up in the air.
Yeah. Only then. First thing we do is breakfast nachos. I got all sorts of pancakes that I let dry out and then put eggs, cheddar cheese, bacon and sausage, hollandaise sauce, and a southern gravy.
Yeah, that'll get your heart rate.
Yeah, going for sure.
How much do you weigh these days, Randy Vikes?
Excuse me?
I said, what's your weight these days?
Doesn't seem to be a problem for a lot of these gals.
Oh, well.
Oh, the dating scene's going well. I'm sorry.
Do you not want the rest of the food here, Jeff?
Yeah,
no, I'm sorry. I'd like to apologize.
Yeah, Jeff, shut up
you might
for
be
a
getting
second.
fat.
Okay? Let's let Randy
come on, Jeff.
continue his stud
A
stable.
lot of people like to make pizza rolls in the microwave. Some people say take it a step further, put them in the oven.
Right.
What I do, I deep fry them.
Oh, no way.
Deep fried Tocchino's pizza rolls, pepperoni and sausage, the combination flavor. Deep fry those and then dip them in ranch.
Oh,
gotta hang out with Randy.
It's a great dish, and it's a stud. Then in the evening, a lot of people like to keep going with nachos and dips and things. We go Asian. We get a big tub of cream cheese wontons from a local Chinese restaurant. They didn't want to give me the cash, so they don't get to hear their name. But
here you go.
Here we go. That's the same problem.
Good cream cheese wontons and good egg rolls. And next time I do this stable, maybe you'll want to hear your name, Juan. Okay. And then finally, when we really get going later into the evening, it's what everybody likes to finish off with. And that's frying everything you can find in the fridge. Just keep the oil hot and start battering everything. You can batter cheese. You can battered summer sausage. Well, my buddy brought over a zucchini, and I said I don't have any interest in that. He did. Said it was good, but then the number one, the pinnacle touch on my Super Bowl spread, when you just about think you got no more room left in you, you crush up a bag of pork rinds, turn them into a sort of a coating, batter an Oreo, and then roll it in the pork rinds and deep fry that. It's a stud.
What?
Randy, I got questions.
Did he just mic drop?
He mic dropped.
He mic dropped off. How is he still alive?
What?
There's nothing about that. There's no way that he should have survived that day.
Pork rinds, chopped,
Zero chance,
just
dude.
crushed up pork rinds.
Okay, that's not the point, though. He just deep fried and battered everything. Like, there's no way that the blood is pumping through his body still.
I mean, it is though.
It is.
I mean, listen to him.
He's a
Rick,
ticking time
sounds
bomb.
great
probably.
right
Yeah,
now.
it sounds
He
great.
starts the day by getting his heart to race and then slows it down to a stop throughout the rest of the day.
What? All right. Well, that was the Randy and Cottage Grove Super Bowl stud
I did not
stable.
expect the stud stable to be a his list of foods.
No.
I thought we were going to get the. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what I thought. It doesn't matter what
you
I
think.
thought.
Oh man, I was trying to hit
The
this
Rock
one.
knows how you feel about pie.
Okay. Are you ready for Dex's reviews here? Should we just roll right into this? Are
Yeah,
you ready for this,
we can.
Dex?
Yeah,
We
let's get
can.
to it.
Okay.
So here's what I wanted you to do on our production meeting. On that button bar, there is a minute clock ticking sound.
Okay. Oh wow, you're gonna show some self-restraint here.
So here's what I want you to do. Once you start that clock, I'm going to go for a minute. I got to go uninterrupted because I got a lot of notes.
Okay.
And then once that clock runs out, you buzz me and I'll just stop. I'll stop, but I got
Okay.
a minute of uninterrupted. I don't know, count me down if you want, but
Cool.
yes, I'm ready to go.
All right. So every week, our producer and our friend Declan, he reviews something. Lately, it's been a lot of potential quarterback draft picks, possibilities. I think that we've kind of moved off that because the Vikings just aren't going to draft a quarterback in the first round. He reviewed a bidet that he installed in his bathroom.
Oh, that was clutch yesterday.
But lately,
And now Phil Mackey updates Judd Zolgad on the latest happenings from The Bachelorette.
lately we've taken an old segment out of the basement here, and we've had Declan reviewing episodes of The Bachelor. And so Declan gets 60 seconds to explain to us what happened on last night's episode of The Bachelor with Bachelor Matt.
All right, here we go.
You ready?
Yep. All right, so MJ and Jasenia, they meet in the one-on-one for Matt because Matt has to decide which one has to go home. MJ is the last of the mean girls, and Jasenia has like good intentions, but MJ can manipulate stipulations. So after hearing them out, Matt ends up sending MJ home. He walks her off the car. He's gone. Later at the rose ceremony, he gives the last rose of Serena C, and he sends home Maggie, Brittany, and Ryan. Later on the one-on-one, Piper gets a date at a makeshift carnival. Lame attempt at a date, by the way. But at the dinner, Piper opens up that her family dynamic is tough and it's hard to let people in. And she admits, though, that she's in love with Matt. Matt, I don't know if he feels the same way. But on the group date, Michelle, our girl from Edina, she keeps impressing. She gets another rose. Second rose in 3 weeks for our Edina girl, Michelle. Also at the one-on-one, there's another one-on-one with Katie, but Tyler C., a former contestant on The Bachelor from a Hannah Brown season, is involved with the two play a prank on him, but Katie ends up going home because Matt sends her home because he doesn't not in love with her. All the other relationships have progressed, and finally Heather Martin, one of the worst people in the world, is back on The Bachelor.
Wow.
I had a lot of notes there.
Wow.
I could have still went.
No, Judd, your thoughts on last night's episode of The Bachelor?
That was a lot. I had to run through that.
So wait, hold on a second here.
A lot to
So
unpack.
yeah. So we're down to 2 people left, 3 people left.
No,
Yeah,
it's like 9. 8 or
Oh,
9.
it's still that high. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought he sent a bunch of people.
There were
home.
definitely like 10 or 11 to start the episode.
Yeah, I think there's
And they
like,
ditched a
I think
couple
there's
of
like
them.
8. I think there's like 7 or 8. We're 2 weeks from hometowns.
Yeah, it's very hometowns are great because The Bachelor gets to go to the hometown.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you've told. I remember the
these
whole
women.
Yeah, and then he
And he
meets,
meets their families.
Meets their families,
And then
they
the dad usually asks something like, "So,
do you think?
you're dating 4 women?"
Quick question: do you think that on a hometown one so far, not across the board, but do you think that we have ever experienced a dad who is actually an actor because the real dad was going to be so crappy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. I think we may have experienced an actress among the contestants this
Whoa.
year. I think we had,
Whoa.
what was the name
Talk
of the
to me.
gal? The gal who didn't wear makeup and who was always
Victoria?
Queen Victoria.
Victoria.
I think she was a plant.
Yeah.
I think she was
My
a plant.
sources told me that she was
Really?
a plant.
So
Yeah.
not real. I mean, a contestant.
They needed something
Yeah.
to spice this season up and to ensure drama.
I had an anonymous source text me last night that she thinks it's a plant.
It's got to be a plant.
And is she still in it or is she gone?
No,
now?
she's gone.
She's gone.
She was
yeah.
gone.
And Judd, the first thing Declan mentioned off the top here
This
is
is very
the
exciting.
concept of the Bachelor one-on-one. So what happens is oftentimes, if not multiple times in a season, there will be drama between 2 contestants. Could be, if it's the Bachelorette, could be a couple of guys.
Okay.
In this case, it's a couple of women. They just
Sure.
don't like each other.
Yeah,
And someone's got to go.
they're butting heads.
It's a loser leaves town match, basically, where Matt invites them both on a one-on-one, I should say a 2-on-1 or whatever you call it. It's a 2-on-1 date.
Yeah.
It's a 2-on-1.
2 for 1.
So it's Matt
Huh.
and then the 2 gals who hate each other
Mhm.
all on a date together.
Mhm.
And then by the end, he has to decide which one stays and which one goes.
So he takes them,
Wildly
so
uncomfortable.
he takes them both out on the same date.
Well,
Well, and this was more like of a sit down. This wasn't necessarily a date. This was more like, hey, we got to get to the bottom of this. One of you is going home right now. Let me hear both sides of your story. And MJ with her big hoops, big hair, big personality.
Excuse me?
Got big hoops, big hair.
Oh, hoops. Okay, sorry.
Big personality. Got sent home.
And really, I think the headline here
She
is
cried?
that our gal Michelle from Edina is in prime position.
She is.
Prime position.
She sounds
to
like she
take
might win this
down.
thing.
I think
From what
she's
you guys
the
are telling
favorite.
me.
I think she's the favorite.
I do too. I think she's a type of gal you can bring home to mom.
Yeah.
Really. She really is.
Okay, so one thing I have a bone to pick with Matt and Phil. I don't know if you've noticed this, and if you haven't, I think I'm going to ruin it for you. Like, as in, it's a thing that Matt does that absolutely drives me insane.
His open mouth kissing.
Okay, well, no, but very close.
That's super weird.
But you're right.
He like
There's
goes,
a lot of open mouth.
he goes in, you know, like Donald Trump's mouth is kind of like open all the time.
It is.
Yep.
That's how he kind of
like
leans.
a pucker fish.
Yeah, he kind of leans in
Like a pucker fish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got to clean that up.
Matt has this very nervous laugh chuckle he does. Have you noticed this before?
No, but I will now.
Okay. All the time when he is clearly like either comfortable or uncomfortable, he does this chuckle. And it is the most annoying thing, and I'm going to ruin it for you. So now every time he does it, you're going to think of this. I've ruined this for you.
That could be a deal breaker. Like, you're trying to figure out if you're going to spend the rest of your life with someone, and
It's like
every time they're uncomfortable, they're going to let out some weird noise.
It's like a
I don't
Santa
know.
Claus, like ho ho ho. Like it's very, very strange.
So what are
it.
the stats on the amount of times that this has actually worked for people to stay together? I think the first couple did, right?
I would say in terms of like relationship,
Ryan, somebody.
it's been happening for this has been going on for like 20 years.
And I
of
think the
Bachelor,
first one actually worked, right?
Now we have Paradise, so there's more opportunities.
Love Paradise.
I want to say probably like 15 to 20%.
I think I was going to say 25, and that's probably still a little bit.
That's pretty good. 25%.
Something like
For
that.
sure.
Yep. Our other gal, Becca, who was the Bachelorette from Minnesota from a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, you didn't
So
like her, right?
she initially, when she was on The Bachelor, she won and then got engaged to Ari Lyondike. And then he sort of broke up with her on camera a couple months later.
I remember.
And then she connected with another guy on her season, but then they broke up because he's kind of a racist. So she's single now.
Good to know.
And that's your update.
And now, Phil Mackey updates Judd Zolgad on the latest happenings from The Bachelorette.
Judd has so many more questions right now.
No, I'm thinking this through.
I love this. This is great.
So Dex,
the wheels are spinning.
I think next week, bring me like the two juiciest storylines possible.
Okay.
Bring me like one or two things.
Okay.
And spend the entire time on that.
Okay.
So I can sort of have it meld into my brain.
For sure. Yeah.
And then discuss that, because I feel like a lot happens, but then I can't really tell what happened.
Sure. This was a messy episode. A lot to unpack.
Lot happening.
I feel like the 2-on-1 sit down though.
I mean,
is a point of exploration.
We didn't even mention that Katie got eliminated on this crazy 1-on-1 at the end, who is rumored to be the next Bachelorette. Do you know
Interesting.
this? Katie is supposed to be the next Bachelorette.
Katie
She handled it with grace too.
Here's the tough part there last night, Judd. So Matt really put a stone face on the entire date with Katie. And then they go get dinner at the end of the night, and she pours her heart out, and he just kind of sits there and soaks it all in. And when she's done pouring her heart out, he grabs the rose. This is the moment where usually like
you get
the rose because we had a great date today, right?
Yep.
She pours her heart out. He takes the rose and he holds it and he says, and I'm paraphrasing here, I just can't give this to you, Katie.
Yeah, sometimes you got to break hearts.
I just don't see you.
Oh no!
As part of my life long term.
Oh, how'd you take it?
I just don't know.
She took it really well.
Can you let someone pour their heart out like that, and then like I know what my decision's going to be, but I'm gonna give her 10 minutes to basically pour her soul out,
right?
And then I'm gonna crush it.
Well, he might have decided though during the course of that
he did.
It wasn't worth continuing the potential.
Then why not just break up then? Why let her pour her heart out?
But what if she had said, but if she does a great job, and then he's like, oh my gosh, this changed me. I've now pivoted, and I will give you the rose. I think it's a smart play.
I would have told her that.
He ran the clock. He ran the shot clock all the way down.
Yeah, you got to know her, and then you realized that it wasn't going to work.
Down to 2, he launched the shot and missed, or she launched the shot.
You know, the one thing that sets Phil apart is Phil's been really good for the game. He takes time out for people. And
Judd Zolgad, one of the most well-respected, esteemed journalists. Guy seems to break news before you even knew there was something to break.
Mackey and Judd.